Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Midnight Horror Show, a once-a-month horror movie review show that only airs once a month. Tonight, for our first episode, I'm reviewing the 2018 Halloween reboot, Halloween 40 Years Later, as I like to call it, and it starts right now. Okay, everyone, before we get to the review, let's do a Halloween retrospective. So we start with October 17th, 1978. The very first Halloween film, directed by John Carpenter, is released. A horror movie that stands the test of time. A horror movie that, while it did not invent the slasher genre, definitely it brought it into the mainstream. Even though Black Christmas and Texas Chainsaw Massacre did do it first, Halloween's the one that took the formula and perfected it. There's not much else I can say about this John Carpenter and Deborah Hill classic movie except to go watch it because there's a reason why everyone's go-to horror movie on Halloween is fucking Halloween. So, while the first film was a classic standard bearing masterpiece, how did the sequels fare? Well, let's start with October 30th, 1981. Halloween 2, directed by Rick Rosenthal, is released with John Carpenter and Deborah Hill returning as producers to help make this follow-up to their classic. This movie would begin the whole Michael is Laurie's brother, mainly because NBC bought the rights to show Halloween on TV, on the network, and they wanted an extra 15 minutes so they could have more, because they needed more time to air the movie on network television. So, inspired by Empire Strikes Back and not having a whole lot of to know what else to do with this franchise, John Carpenter said they're brother and sister, and they slapped it in there in the final hour. That's why it's brought in more towards the last 30 minutes of the film and not really further explained. But let's forget all that, because while Halloween 2 was a massive success, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill wanted to go in a different direction. So they decided in October 22nd, 1982, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. This time, Carpenter and Hill would only produce the film, with Tommy Lee Wallace not directing. Now, this was an ambitious attempt to make the Halloween franchise into an anthology series, something that would actually affect another horror franchise later on, Friday the 13th. When Sean S. Cunningham wanted to make an anthology series to Friday the 13th, even though he did the second Friday the 13th film, he didn't want to follow the Jason storyline, but that's for another day. So this is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. It was an ambitious attempt to do what they wanted to do, but with no Michael Myers, instead androids controlled by an evil corporation trying to do a pagan ritual, fans were not happy at the time, and they were very adamant, we want Michael, making the studio realize there is no Halloween franchise without Michael Myers. So, 6 years later, October 1st, 1988, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Now, this time, John Carpenter and Deborah are long gone. They're gone. And all semblance of Halloween 3 has been swept into the trash and into the cult status that it is. Now, this time, director H. Littlewood took the reins. This would be the film debut of another Scream Queen. Just as Halloween introduced the world to Jamie Lee Curtis, this Halloween film would introduce us to another Scream Queen in Danielle Harris as Jamie Lloyd. What? No Laurie Strode? Where is she? Well, unfortunately, she was killed off screen via car accident. Or was she? But don't worry, because he's back, baby! Michael Myers returns, and while wearing a really fake-looking mask, shows everyone that he is the king of horror. As he goes through Hannibal, slashing and dicing, trying to kill his niece. But don't worry, folks, because Halloween 4 was so successful that the next year, in October 13th, 1989, we had Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Directed by Dominic Othen Gerard, the beginning of everyone's favorite cult, the Cult of Thorn, a disappointing film that disregards Halloween 4's ambitious ending of Jamie slowly taking Michael's evil and killing her adopted mother. Instead, we decide to throw that out the window, give Laurie a psychotic connection to Michael Myers, and we would introduce the Man in Black and the Cult of Thorn. This movie would also end on a cliffhanger where Michael escapes from prison, and he is abducted, and apparently so is Laurie. Sorry, not Laurie. Jamie will also be instructed, which will be a cliffhanger ending to lead to everyone's favorite sequel, September 29th, 1995, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, starring Ant-Man, aka Paul Rudd, and the final Donald Pleasence performance. As Donald Pleasence would die before the film was released, sadly. I'll take a moment of silence for the great Donald Pleasence, who has helped this franchise and has delivered a great performance in every Halloween film he was in. Anyway, a movie's so bad that there are two awful cuts, theatrical and the producer's cuts. This film would try to explain Michael Myers via pagan ruins. This film also brought an end to the Jamie story, which may or may not have included incest. That's a review for another day. A film so bad that they didn't know what to do. They were lost. What do we do? Who could save us? So on August 5th, 1998, Halloween H2O, directed by C. Miner, would introduce a very popular trope you see nowadays: the disregarding of all the shitty sequels we made, so that we can make this the true sequel. Something that Halloween would later do with 2018, which we'll get to in a couple minutes. This would disregard all the sequels, and it would pit Michael versus Laurie one last time 20 years later. This was influenced by Scream, as you can tell with some of the sufferential horror and the teen cast. But some gags, like for instance, Jamie Lee Curtis at one point in the film will be scared by her mother, who of course was famously in Psycho, and she would also get in the same car she drove in the movie Psycho when she drove off. And it would do the whole everyone's entitled to one good scare, which is from it's a lot of throwbacks, self-referentials from the Halloween franchise itself. Think like Marvel does when they bring back shit from previous movies into this film. It's like kind of like that, it's self-referential. But this would finally bring us the end of the Laurie versus Michael saga, where Laurie chops Michael's head off, definitively ending this franchise in one fatal swing. Or did it? As July 12th, 2002, Halloween Resurrection came out, directed by Rick Rosenthal, the guy who directed Halloween 2, who directed one of the best sequels and one of the worst sequels. He came back for his magna opus, Halloween Resurrection, a movie that Jamie Lee Curtis only came back to do as long as she died in the first 15 minutes of the fucking film. She said, "I'm coming back. You're killing me. You're killing me. Goddammit. I ain't not no." A movie about a bunch of college kids filming an internet reality show in the Myers house. This would all culminate though in Michael Myers facing his toughest opponent, Busta Rhymes. Sadly, this would be the last entry until they went the remake route. Which brings us to the Rob Zombie Halloween films. Oh god. August 31st, 2007, Rob Zombie's Halloween comes out. I like to call this the redneck remake, because Rob tries to make a half prequel / remake. He spends the first half of the film explaining and showing us why Myers would snap by putting him in this white trash setting, and his stepfather, his sister, all mean to him. Everyone, he's bullied at school, blah blah blah. The only one who seems to be nice to him is his mother and Angel Myers, who would later become Laurie Strode. And the other half is the best way to describe this is a nu metal version of Halloween. As we rush through Halloween, the remake, we do a rush remake of Halloween 1, where Laurie is now a sex-crazed teenager. Her friends are sex-crazed teenagers. There's lots of sex, rape, brutality, baby. However, it did well, despite all the fans not liking this. It did well, and that it is so well that the studio went back and begged Rob Zombie to make a sequel. That's right, boys and girls. In August 28, 2009, 2 years later, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 came out. Oh boy, if you loved all the sex and brutality and giant Michael Myers from the last film, well, don't worry, we upped it up here with a giant redneck hobo Michael Myers that not only is his face showing through almost the entire film, he speaks. Oh, and we bring back everyone's favorite trope from Halloween 5, the psychic connection between Laurie and Michael. Yeah, baby! This would be the last entry into the franchise until, of course, on October 19th, 2018, we would get the Halloween 2018 reboot, RH40 as I like to call it, directed by David Green with John Carpenter back as producers. Can they bring life into this dead horse? Well, we're about to find out.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen.
So here we are. We open with the old orange block letters, and we are back in Smith's Grove as two true crime podcasters have come to interview Michael Myers, Aaron Corey and Dana Haynes. They're talking to Dr. Sartain, who took over as Michael's therapist because unfortunately Donald Pleasance is no longer with us, and so no Dr. Loomis. So they hope to talk to Michael before he's transferred. That's right. He's being transferred out. 40 years on the 40th anniversary of when he killed all those people. He will be transferred. This will end well, right? Surprise, it won't. Anyway, Sartain admits he's kind of obsessed with Michael. As they go outside, they see a bunch of inmates on a weird red and green checkered board, and they're chained in like there's these yellow taped squares on this checkerboard with like 9 of the checkerboard pieces on them, so they have 9 square feet. And this thing is a yellow square, and in the middle there's like a big cinder block weight, and there's a chain connected to a collar around their necks, and there's a bunch of people out there. And I don't know why, but this whole thing reminds me of Clockwork Orange when Alex is in that prison right before he subjects himself to that weird therapy. Anyway, we get to see Michael Myers as an old man. That we get to see a lot of him in this movie. It's one of the things I don't like, because he kind of looks like Michael Keaton from Birdman. Do you ever seen Birdman? That's what he looks like here. It's just, we don't actually see his face, but this movie loves to show you Michael Myers without the mask on, without actually showing his face, even though there's actually one shot where you can clearly see his face in the background. So, hey, at that point, just show his fucking face and get over with. Don't try to build mystique. We've already seen him. We can kind of tell what he looks like. Anyway, back to the movie. Aaron gets really close and pulls out the Myers mask, and the music intensifies. The other inmates, the security dogs, start acting out, almost as if they can sense the evil in Myers rising as Aaron antagonizes him. And at this point, in the theater, I looked to myself and I said, this dude is fucked. He's gonna die. He is so screwed. When Michael gets out, he's gonna visit you. And cut to the old Halloween theme and intro credits. We watch as a deflated pumpkin rises again, either symbolizing the evil in Michael coming back or the breath of life into this franchise. Anyway, this shit made me so hyped the first time I saw it, and still a little bit now, even now. 'Cause fuck, that's cool. It's just something with the music playing. You get slowed into it. Anyway, back to Aaron and Dana traveling to Laurie Strode's home to interview her. They offer $3,000 for an interview, and she allows them in. They explain why they are here. Aaron asks the ultimate question: is the boogeyman real? And all I think is, dude, you gonna find out in like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes? Anyway, they want to know why Myers targeted her. Aaron antagonizes her some more, because apparently this dude likes to do that. He likes to piss off whoever he's interviewing, as he brings up the fact that Laurie had 2 failed marriages and has a shitty relationship with her daughter. Real ray of sunshine, that Aaron. I bet you we all can't wait to see him in a sequel. Now, anyway, Laurie admits she's a basket case and that she knows Myers is being transferred tonight. The idiot now asks, about when Lori's daughter was taken at the age of 12. And at this point, I just went, dick, underneath my breath. Lori never regained custody of her daughter. Aaron says they met Michael and he had no response to the mask. He then tries to pitch that Myers and Lori should sit down together to have a conversation with Dana and Aaron to, of course, record the whole thing. Lori basically tells him to get the fuck out. So then, insane! Cut to Lori's daughter Karen and her stupid husband setting rat traps. They talk about celebrating Allison, her daughter's getting high honored, and meeting her boyfriend Cameron, who is from a bad family. Somehow, Karen's idiot husband Ray gets peanut butter on his dick. I don't know how this happened, because this dude is fully clothed, and he was setting up rat traps. So unless he somehow was setting up rat traps with the zipper down and his dick out, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, he fucking says, ow, I got peanut butter on my dick. And I'm just like, and I just remember facepalming in the theater being like, oh god, please get away from him. Luckily he doesn't have, he has like maybe, like he's in like 1 or 2 scenes and he kind of just quietly slips in the background until his untimely death. Spoilers, this fucker dies, which obvious. Sadly, he did not get a knife in the dick. I was hoping for a knife in the dick. I still wish he got a knife in the dick, but he did not get a knife in the dick. You know, because I thought, maybe Michael would like to help him scrape the peanut butter off his dick with a butcher knife. But, hey, we can't all get what we want, though. Anyway, Allison asks Karen, hey, did you invite my grandmother? And Karen BS's away. He's like, oh, we talked. We had such a nice conversation. La-di-la-di. Karen in this movie is acting like a Karen. I'm gonna say right now, if you're a fan of Karen, I might insult you. Once or twice. Anyway, so we go straight to we should cut straight to outside. Allison, Vicky, and Dave. Allison's 2 friends. Vicky and Dave are dating, apparently. Allison tells her friends that her mother's full of shit. Dave asks, wasn't Michael Myers Lori's brother? And this is the point where the film stops for a second to explain to us, forget that. That's no longer anything anymore, because the film uses this to establish this as a myth. That's just an urban legend, which is actually kind of nice, because now in this universe, all the sequels can just be like urban legends. Like they could literally release Halloween 2 to Resurrection as a whole collection called the Urban Legend of Michael Myers, and be like, oh, here's one urban legend where Michael Myers met her and Laurie Strode fought 20 years later, and she decapitated him. One of my favorite sequels. Anyway, so Dave also points out that a loose maniac with a knife isn't that big a deal. At this point, I said, Dave, I can't wait to see you hung up on a wall soon. Anyway, we cut to Allison being scared by her boyfriend at school, Cameron, who thought it was a joke that he has to meet the parents. Ooh. And her shitty friend, Oscar, who's probably jerking off the pictures to Allison. And every other hot, decent-looking girl in the yearbook? Probably. Cut to classroom where teachers teaching about fates. And of course, this happens in every Halloween film, where we have a main character in a classroom, the teacher's talking about fate or destiny, and then she looks outside and, ta-da! Michael's standing out, watching her from the back. But surprise! This time, it's Laurie's the one outside the window. I like some callbacks. Fuck it, why not? And it's fun. It's kind of neat to do that. I mean, Rob Zombie even did it in the remake. Oh god, I can't believe I said something nice with the Rob Zombie remake. Anyway, we cut to Laurie outside now, giving Allison the $3,000 she got from the podcasters and telling her to leave town, go to Mexico, have fun. Allison asks why Laurie lets Myers take up so much of her life. Laurie says no qualms about it. Allison asks her to let go of it. Let go of Myers and move on. Cut to Laurie, obviously not moving on, by target practicing and cleaning all her guns. She's in the backyard shooting mannequins. It's actually kind of cool. There's this one scene though where you could tell she was doing because she felt like a badass, because she did the badass walked up, pulled a gun, shot the mannequin, and walked away. I was like, that's what you do when you're alone and no one's watching, so you can feel badass for just a minute. It's one of those things you hope no one around you will see. It's like, that's the thing you do alone. Like, the only time I ever do a pimp walk is when I'm by myself. It's the only time. Anyway, So we cut back to our podcasters. Dana is playing old Dr. Loomis tapes. God damn, I miss Donald Pleasance. The only thing I wish we could have had in this movie is him back. I know he died in like 19 and when in the middle of Halloween 6, like in real life, not in the movie, in real life. It's just it sucks because he's like one of my favorite characters. Him and Laurie Strode and Michael I consider to be like this weird trinity of Halloween characters. Like it's kind of sad that once we get past Halloween 2, we never see all three of them together again. Like the only thing that would make H2O better is somehow Donald Pleasance has popped in. But anyway, so she's on the tape. Sorry, on the tape, he is saying death is the only answer for Michael, and it's going. It needs to die. I shot him 6 times. It could help us with that one. Laurie is. Anyway, we cut to Laurie, who is sitting in a car with a gun, watching the prison transport bus leave the asylum. With Dr. Santan, we see BS his way onto the bus, saying, "I want to stay with Michael to the very end." We cut to Cameron meeting the parents. Pointless dribble. Cameron looks kind of like a discount Adam Driver, Kyle Ren from Star Wars Episode 7 to 9. He looks like a shittier he looks like the dollar store version of him, but with like light brown hair instead of black hair. So I'm gonna call him discount Adam Driver from now on. Anyway, Allison asks about Grandma. Karen lies. Then Laurie appears, almost as if to prove her daughter wrong. She makes polite conversation. Then she suddenly takes a glass of wine and starts chugging it. And then she starts having a breakdown and then the worst of it all, the dreaded Karen attacks with judgment. And Laurie breaks down. She saw the shape. She's trying to tell them. She's breaking down Karen. I saw the shape. He's gonna get out. Karen tries to help, but not really. She tries to help in that condescending way where, you know, like where like someone doesn't truly believe you and is just insulting you. Tony, just forget that silly nonsense. It makes it really hard to care. It also makes it really hard to accept their help when they just outright dismiss you and act like you're an idiot. Anyway, Karen tries to help, but Laurie leaves, and Karen immediately turns to her daughter and says, "I told you so." I wanted her in this moment. I wanted Michael to grab her little head, just squeeze real tight and watch her head pop off. Yeah, and her moment at the end does not help. It helps a little bit, but not enough. I fucking couldn't stand this moment. Anyway, a part of it, okay, Judy Greer is Karen in this moment, and I like her in Archer as Cheryl. I like her in Archer as Cheryl. Because in Archer, she kind of plays this high-pitched, annoying idiot. And the problem is, well, in this movie, that's her voice, and she's not doing it on purpose. I guess that's just her normal voice. So it's a little more toned down, but that's all I hear is Cheryl from Archer. And it's just annoying the shit out of me. So, sorry. Anyway, Allison goes outside to comfort her grandmother who's crying. And then Karen comes out and gloats more about being right, and then whines about her childhood, saying, I was taught how to shoot a gun and fight when I was 8. I was like, fuck off. We get it. Boo-hoo. So, we cut to a hunter and his son driving on the road. The son hates hunting and rather be at dance practice. The father, not approving. They say it's his father, but this dude looked like he could have been his grandfather. Like, this dude was balding. He looked like he was in his late 40s, early 50s. The kid looks like he might be 12. He's that preteen year. Maybe. I mean, it could be. You never know. The father could have been a late bloomer, but hey, whatever. Anyway, they run across the bus transport. It crashed, and now the inmates are on the road. They're kind of like how in the original film when Loomis and the nurse goes back up to the hospital and they see all those patients in the yard. It's kind of like that, but now they're just out on the road to check what road they're on, and he takes his rifle with him, which is great. Good choice, buddy. Take that rifle with you. Okay, that's the best thing you could do in this situation. I swear to always take the gun with you. Anyway, the father has disappeared. So he walks towards the accident. He finds a police officer barely alive, and the police officer yells, "Run!" And the boy, not terrified, cries, "Daddy!" and goes to see if he's on the bus. The kid goes on the bus. Dr. Sartain pops out, and he shoots Dr. Sartain. I like this kid. Hopefully he isn't fucked. Sadly, he was, because as he runs back to the car to drive off, Michael strikes from the backseat, bashing his head into the window until he dies. This is actually kind of fucked up because normally kids don't die in these movies. Like, I remember like one of the scariest scenes in the Friday 13th series is part 6 with when the kids are at the camp and Jason's stalking outside, and you just think to yourself, he's not gonna kill a kid, but there's always that moment where you know it could happen. In this movie, they said, fuck it. Michael's just gonna kill this motherfucker. He ain't afraid to kill a kid. This movie was basically telling us there are no limits. This man is out here to murder some folk. Anyway, cut to Deputy Hawkins playing pinball. He gets the call about the accident, arrives, but Michael's long gone. He, however, finds the boy's dad, the hunter, found with his neck broken in a twisted position. The cop finds Dr. Sartain, who's still alive. Damn it. I was hoping he died. Then cut the title card saying it's October 31st. As our two podcasters, Aaron and Dana, are at a graveyard talking to the groundskeeper about Judith Myers. The groundskeeper is jealous of other cemeteries because this is Illinois, and you know, Bernie Mac, a famous comedian from Chicago, I'm guessing, is buried somewhere around the area, and they're like, damn it, other cemeteries have Bernie Mac. Why am I stuck at this one? The best we got is this old case when like 63. Anyway, we cut to Myers watching them from a tree, and we see him in the background first, and we see everything but like this tree branch that's covering his face. And what annoys me is when we cut back from his perspective, you can see Dana's like kneeling by the grave, and she's looking off sort of at his direction, but not really. But he's in her eyesight. You'd think she would have seen this dude in white, the only other dude in this cemetery, and would be like, hey, wait a second, is that Michael? Ah, shit, Aaron, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Run! But that doesn't happen. Aaron breaks down Judith's death. This is all shit we've seen before. The groundskeeper sees Michael. She looks at him. Now, this might have been an accident, but she actually, right before the scene cuts, she looks directly where he was at as he just disappears. So I think she knew he was there. He was watching it. She doesn't say a damn thing. She's like, nope. Aaron was probably being a dick to her, talking to her about, oh, I bet she didn't graduate high school or some bullshit. So she went, y'all can die. Anyway, cut to the hospital. Sheriff Barker and Deputy Hawkins talk about the moon six that have been found. Dr. Sartain condition as he's lying in a hospital bed unconscious, and Hawkins being worried about Myers being loose. And the sheriff just laughs and, what do you do? Cancel Halloween? Yeah, actually, that was a plot in, like, I think Halloween 6. They talk about, like Haddonfield had canceled Halloween, and they decided to bring it back. And right when they bring it back, Michael came back and started killing people again. And like one of the characters who's at the rally speaking out literally dies, like, 20 minutes later in the Myers house. Or no, my bad. No, it wasn't the Myers house. She dies in the Myers house, yeah. Anyway. Cut to outside a gas station. Dana is going over research papers as Aaron is getting gas. Myers rolls up in the stolen truck, and we fucking see his face. It's in the background, but you can see his face. It's full frontal. I know what this man looks like. Okay? I know. We don't have to hide it anymore. It's there. God damn it. Anyway. He walks into the gas station. Commence the slaughter. We actually see when Dana asks someone where the bathroom, she goes up to the front to ask what the bathroom is. In the background, Michael is beating someone's head into death. I think he was a mechanic on one of those rolling things they use to slide in cars. He's just beating this motherfucker to death in the background. It's kind of cool. It's like at 36 minutes, 18 seconds of the movie. It's right when it happens. I don't know. Well, I don't know if this is the call. Okay, so she goes into the restaurant right now. When I first saw this in theaters, my mind immediately went back to H2O when Myers went into that that lady and her kid and her little girl were in the restroom, and then Michaels came in, he stole her car keys, and he took off the car and just left them stranded there. Now my mind went to that. Instead, this time, well, he ain't looking for a ride. He slowly opens up each stall. Dana's scared shitless. She's like, she's all freaking out. And she says, hey, when he gets to her stall, he goes, hey, someone's in here. Michael pretends to walk away. And we cut to outside. Aaron somehow misses the dead catcher, despite looking right at him and his fucking open jaw. Like, this dude's jaw was ripped open. Aaron goes in and finds one of us anyway. He finds the dead mechanic who was bashed and who was stripped naked, by the way, because apparently Michael stole his jumpsuit, as he usually does. So we go back to the bathroom. Michael decides he really needs to pee and goes after Dana's one only clean stall. As she took the only clean toilet, he scares her by showing off his teeth collection. Dana busts into the rescue.
I can be your hero, baby. I can kiss away the pain. I will stand by you forever. You can take my breath away.
Anyway, crowbar in hand, Aaron gets the shit kicked in, beaten almost to death. He watched as Dana is now choked to death. Cut to Myers opening the trunk to get his mask, i.e. the trailer shots. Now here's an interesting thing I noticed because I watched this film. I've seen this movie 4 times. I saw it opening weekend or the week after it opens. I saw it again a year later on Hulu, and then I saw it twice this last week. In the last 2 times I've seen it, we never actually know what happens to Aaron. Like, he's beaten pretty badly. Like, he's busted open, there's blood covering half his face. But we don't actually see him die. The last time we see him, he's still alive. Just watching as Dana got choked to death. And later on, when the cops are there, we see her in a body bag, but we don't know what happened to Aaron. So now we can assume he's dead, but if you don't see it on screen, you don't ever assume that. So he might actually still be alive. I wouldn't be surprised if he came back. I don't know if they did do that. Now, personally, I don't really give a shit. But if they did do it, if they do bring him back, you heard it here first on the Midnight Horror Show. God damn it. Anyway. So yeah, cut to news report about the prison bus crash. Laurie immediately knows he's loose. She locks down her ass and gears up. We get our first look at this bitchin' ass kitchen table turned basement door. Man, I want this for my house. This is awesome. You know how cool that is? Hell yes. And then when I want the basement to lead to a secret passageway to lead straight out of the house, like that would be awesome. Hell yeah, I got Burke in my house. I'm just gonna hide underneath my kitchen table and sneak out. Yeah. Though of course, if you've seen Halloween 2018, then you know what my plan is, and then I'm fucked. But you know, that's beside the point. Okay, so anyway, we cut to Karen coming home. Her back door was mysteriously left open, so she starts to panic. Is someone in the house? She calls out for Ray, who appears. Yeah. And then they walk around for a second, and then Laurie jumps out saying, "Gotcha," and you're dead. Karen complains. Laurie chastises Karen for lack of security. She tells him, "Hey, Michael's bus crashed." Karen, still being a Karen, says, "Fuck, I'll just leave. Quit with the delusion. The world is a happy place." And when this goes on, it kind of dawns on me. Laurie is now in the Loomis role as the person who warns the characters, "Hey, that motherfucker's out, and he's gonna start slaughtering people," and no one takes it seriously. Just like Loomis and Halloween 1. They do take him seriously in Halloween 2. But like Halloween 4 and 5, they don't take him seriously. Like, they don't listen to him when he says, "Hey, this motherfucker's loose." That in Halloween 4, they see him as a bad omen, a reminder of the 78 slaughters. So it's kind of cool, and it does fit. I like the idea of Laurie now being Loomis, the one who has to track him down to find him. It's kind of cool. It's one of my favorite things from the Halloween series. Anyway, we cut to Deputy Hawkins at the gas station, looking at Dana's dead body. He goes outside and sees Laurie. The sheriff calls him over. They confirm, "Yeah, it's Michael. He did this." Hawkins warns the sheriff, "We need to hunt him down." He doesn't listen, and then Laurie leaves. Laurie disappears. He vanishes. So we cut to Halloween 9/10 beginning with trick-or-treaters, 2 kids running to Michael, and they screamed what I screamed. Oh, fuck, because I said the same thing. If I ran into him, I would say, "Oh, fuck, I'm dead." And they run. And this would begin my favorite sequence in this movie. It's the best thing ever. The one take camera tracking murder spree with the theme playing. Myers just walks into some old lady shed, picks up a hammer, goes inside, bashes her head in violently, then he finds his classic butcher knife and he drops the hammer. Then we hear a baby crying. Now, I thought, oh god, he's gonna bash a baby. Oh no, please don't. I can't take it. Don't do it. I'm like, I got a tear rolling down my eyes. Like, don't do it, man. And then I thought, because I was convinced he's about to stomp this baby. I was like, oh god. But surprisingly, he just walks away from the child. He looks at it for a second and walks away and onto the porch. Almost as if it's almost as if because Michael Myers is supposed to be pure evil. It's as if the pure innocence of this baby somehow kept him away from attacking it. Maybe like he just couldn't. I don't know. It's probably something stupid, but I'm probably saying something stupid. But anyway, so Michael walks onto the sidewalk and we see a couple leaving for a party. They're dressed as a doctor and nurse. I'm gonna say an African American couple because the girlfriend was black. I didn't really see the boyfriend that much, but anyway, he has to go back inside to get his stethoscope for his costume. She's about to get in the car and she sees Michael for a second as she slowly walks up. But luckily, the boyfriend comes out and they escape. So she was lucky. Congrats. She'll probably be in the sequel talking about, I saw him for a second and he was 10 feet away from me and he didn't attack me, but I felt like as if I died. You know, those assholes. Anyway, Myers then sees the house on his right as a lady alone. She's hanging out by she just gave some kids some candy, trick or treat. Anyway, we see him walk up to a living room window for a peek. We see his mask reflected off the mirror, almost giving us his perspective for a second as he's thinking, I could just murder this girl. The lady, it's funny because as Michael walks into the background to get into the house, the lady's walking around the house on her phone. She's talking to someone saying, oh yeah, I'll make sure to keep my doors locked. And all you think is, too late. Michael walks into the house. The lady decides to look out her living room window when Myers grabs her hair, bashes her into the window for a second, and then stabs her in the throat. All one long tracking shot. No cuts. It's amazing. It kind of reminds me of the Halloween 2 opening in a bit. Because, you know, that's sort of similar where it's like, it tracks Myers going house to house and shit for like a second. And I love the one shot, the one tracking camera, no takes. It's one of the best things about Marvel's Daredevil on Netflix. It was one of the reasons why I loved that show so much because they would do these action scenes in these tight spaces and they would do it all as one shot, one take, no camera cuts. Just this camera slowly zooming out. You see Daredevil just beating the shit out of people in like real time, and they do it here, and it works so well. I wish it was a little longer, man. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I'm hoping because we've seen from the trailers of Halloween Kills that you know he fucking is murdering those goddamn firefighters. I'm kind of hoping it's all one shot, and it's just I want something like that. Because it's fucking awesome. Anyway, cut to Allison at the dance with Cameron. Allison is dressed as Clyde, and Discount Adam Driver is dressed as Bonnie, sorry. I was looking at gender, my notes, and gender was next, and I somehow switched them together. Anyway, gender swap, baby, because it's 2018, and we're woke now. Anyway, their friend Oscar taking the pictures. The typical Halloween dance bullshit. We don't have to really get into it. But we do have to get into Allison leaves the dance floor to answer a phone call from her friend Vicky, who is babysitting a young Julian, who I like to call the comic relief, because that's kind of his role for a little bit, but it's not too bad. Anyway, Vicky tells Allison that her and Cameron should come over because Dave is bringing Alakazam. I was like, sweet, Pokemon party at Julian's house. Yeah, let's all get together with our little link cables and let's play some good old Pokemon Yellow. Yeah, I know she's talking about weed, but in my mind, I like to think she was talking about Pokemon. Anyway, so we see some jokes between Vicky and Julian. I'm just gonna let the scene play out and let y'all enjoy it, because it makes you really like Vicky, and it's such a shame what's gonna happen to her in about, I don't know, 20 minutes probably. Back to the party. Discount Adam Driver is drinking with Oscar. Allison goes back to the dance floor to see, gasp, her boyfriend kissed some tiger printed girl with a black bikini. She now with a broken heart. Allison must leave. And as Cameron sees her at the last second, he goes, "Ah, fuck, I'm in trouble." Goes in, follows her. They argue, and then for some reason her phone went off, and for some reason this dumbass took her phone and dropped it in a bowl of banana pudding. I shit you not, it's banana. It looks like banana pudding. At first, I thought it was like punch, But then you look and you see it's like this yellow pudding shit that goes and then goes in. I'm like, is that banana pudding? Why is there banana pudding at this party? Who drops a phone in banana pudding? Fuck. Anyway, as this happens and she leaves saying she's fucking sick of this shit, Oscar, watching this, decides it's his time to strike, to exit the friend zone. Will Oscar get lucky? He'll get lucky with someone, just not the person he wants to be with. Anyway, Lori is driving and listening to a police scanner, and she hears, and well, that's pretty much it, actually. I'm thinking of a later scene, my bad. Anyway, we cut to Julian's house. We in the POV of someone standing in the laundry, and with the laundry lines, where they're hanging laundry at, and he's breathing heavy. It must be Michael Myers. It's actually kind of just like in the original when he's watching, I don't remember her name, I just remember the actress, PJ Souls in the kitchen, where she's wearing like that white button-up shirt, and she's walking around, and all of a sudden he accidentally hits the plan, and he kills that German Shepherd. Surprisingly, no dead German Shepherds in this movie. I'm completely surprised by that, because you know, it's because they were playing so many homages to the movies. I'm surprised he didn't kill another fucking dog. Anyway, Vicky is in the kitchen watching a butcher knife, foreshadowing. She goes outside and all of a sudden, jump scare Dave appears with a pumpkin and a horse on a stick named Tate. She tells Dave, Allison, discount Adam Driver, are coming by. Dave shows her a tattoo with the date 10/31/18 on his arm. Dave unknowingly just gave his time and death on his arm. Don't you love it when a plan comes together? Or I guess when shit comes together. Anyway, he says tonight they will remember for the rest of their lives. All 15, 20 minutes of it that's left, they will remember for the rest of their lives. And they're right. They will remember for the rest of 20 minutes. Anyway, they start fooling around on the couch when all of a sudden Vicky hears something. She makes Dave go investigate. Before he get up the staircase, Julian jumps out and scares Dave, screaming, "There's a man in the hallway outside my door. I could hear him. I could hear him breathing. I saw him." And Vicky goes, "I'll go and look." And Julian's like, "No, send Dave." Because you know what? Apparently he wants Dave to die. And I don't blame him. I don't hate Dave, but yeah, I kind of get with Julian a little bit. Anyway, Julian protests. Vicky checking the closet, but seeing this. Vicky goes inside the room, and then she all of a sudden pretends like she found someone. She's like, "Oh no, please, sir, you have to get out of here." And she pretends she's being attacked, and then it's all a fake out just to scare Julian, because we knew it was, because we didn't hear any of the stings, you know, the musical stings to let you know he's there. But I will give Michael Myers some credit, because he's in the closet, in the room the entire time. He must have a flair for dramatic timing, because he fucking waited till she got to the door, opened it, then attacked. It's kind of badass. It's kind of cool. Like, this man's got some fucking patience, alright? He waited 40 years to start slaughtering people, dude. He don't mind waiting another, like, 10 minutes. Anyway, we cut to David outside smoking some wacky tobacco when he spots the garage door open. Oh no, I'm getting a Halloween 5 flashback. No. Anyway, Dave spots something that makes him go, "Sick," and then cuts back to Julian's room. Vicky has him tucked back in, telling him there is no boogeyman. Oh, one nice, touching scene to remind us that Vicky is actually kind of cool. Because in the original movie, no offense to PJ Souls and and Laurie's other two friends, but we don't really seem to care for them. We feel bad they die. We don't really get much. Whereas with Vicky, she's kind of in that Laurie Strode situation where she's taking care of someone on Halloween night, and she's doing a really good job. She just happens to not be the main character and has to die. And it is sad, because even as she's getting stabbed and killed, she makes sure to tell Joey, run. She does what any decent person would do. If this was a Rob Zombie movie, she probably would have grabbed Joy and used them as a human shield as they both fucking died. Because in Rob Zombie's Halloween, everyone's an asshole but Michael. Pretty much. Go watch them. Everyone's an asshole but Michael. It almost makes Michael into like this weird good hero, this good guy who's just killing assholes. Anyway, so we go back to Dave, who apparently found a motorcycle. He starts it, and then the bike falls and he turns it off. Back to Julian's bedroom, he asks Vicky to close the closet. She goes into the closet, and then BAM! Out comes Michael. Julian yells, "Oh shit!" and runs. Vicky, has already been cut because Michael immediately went to make a cut when he got out. Gets up and hits Michael with the chair. Oh hell yeah! But unfortunately, Michael, studying the New Japan Pro Wrestling tapes, no sells a chair. She tries to run, but unfortunately, she gets tripped up by her socks, and then she tries to hold on to the staircase, like the what you call it, those bars at the staircase. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. But Julian actually hears her, comes back up for a second, and she tells him to just run away, run for Dave, run for help, just run. Anyways, Dave hears this, and he leaves to get. Oh, sorry. Dave runs to the house, calls for Vicky. Julian runs past him. Dave, you're gonna get killed. And then he just runs up the house. Anyway, Vicky is being stabbed to death as this is going on. Dave grabs the butcher knife, the same butcher knife I'm guessing she was washing. She was washing earlier, and we cut to Myers, who was looking at Vicky's dead body with his little head tilt, and as he put something over her. At first, I thought he threw her in the closet, but we later find out he put a sheet over her. Anyway, we cut to Deputy Hawkins answering a call of distress from Julian's house. We cut to Laura, who also heard the distress call, who just makes an illegal U-turn. Both are rushing to Julian's house. Hawkins gets there first. He begins searching the house. Cut back to Laurie, just now arriving. She tells people to go inside, scaring people just like Loomis would have. Just scaring motherfuckers, but not screaming, I shot him 6 times! I love saying that. Anyway, Hawkins, who is now up the staircase in front of Julian's room, just entered Julian's room. We see some white cloak ghost figure in a rocking chair. A callback to Halloween 1 when Michael did the same thing, and when he dressed up as a ghost to kill that one girl. I think her name was Linda, actually, the blonde girl who he stabs to death while she's on the phone talking to Lori, who Lori thinks is a sex joke because she's moaning as she's getting stabbed. Anyway, so he goes up to it slowly and he pulls off the sheets to find Vicky under the sheets, dead as hell. Okay, we cut to Lauren, who's in the backyard. She looks up into the windows and she sees Hawkins on the left, but on the right she sees Michael Myers in a mirror, reflected. And he actually tilts his head, almost like he recognizes her. Like, and for some reason he's like, I always like when Michael tilts his head. Like, sometimes he does that. Like when he first kills, I think it might have been, I think his name was Paul in the original. When he stabs him against the wall, and he just looks for a second, like he's puzzled, like he's curious. It's always kind of interesting. It's just this little moment where he shows just a little bit of emotion. It always intrigues me. Anyway, she immediately fires her gun. Turns out she shot his reflection, shattered a mirror. Myers takes his as his cue to get the fuck out of there. Hawkins sees Myers, but by the time he pulls his gun and shoots, Michael is already down the stairs. So he pulls out and he shoots straight. But you look at when he shoots in the way. And when Michael's at, like, he's already, like, only his head's barely showing. This dude would have not shot him at all. Like, he was nowhere close. He was easily 3 feet off. Anyway, Michael's walking outside when Lori spots him, and she shoots him behind into his left torso. Myers stumbles. He does this kind of fun. It's just like in the original when he would get hurt, and he does that weird, unlikable stumble. Anyway, we cut to Hawkins hearing the shots come running. Then we get one last shot of Dave's tattoo because we found Dave. He's hanging on the wall just like Paul was all those years ago, with his neck, with the blade in his neck, and his tattoo with the date 10/31 in 2018, the time of his death, folks. Anyway, we cut back to Laura, who somehow lost Myers. She was like 10 feet away from him, shot him in the shoulders. He clearly stumbled. She should have been able to catch up and at least shoot this motherfucker again. So I don't know how the fuck he walked off or why she didn't shoot him again. She kind of seemed panicked though. Like when she saw him, she was panicked. So that kind of shakes her. Like, I get why she's running around. She's doing what you're supposed to do with your arms out and the gun and shit. But she always looks panicked. Like she's about to collapse. Like she's about to break down. You know, she's allegedly prepared for this for like the last 40 years. She's not really ready. Anyway, we cut to the rest of the police arriving. The chief, whatever the fuck his name is, arriving with Dr. Sartain. They didn't cut to Sartain telling him that Myers caused the bus accident. And Myers is no longer dormant. Something in him in the last 40 years woke up. And he tells him that Myers will just keep killing until he's captured again. The chief tells Hawkins to take Sartain with them. Hawkins protests because Sartain has an arm in his sleeve. He's an injured civilian. Sartain, however, seeing Lori, comes up and talks to her. And then Lori says something that pissed me off in the theaters, pissed me off every time I watched it. She calls him the new Loomis, and I don't like this because he's not the new Loomis. Especially what he does, and even before what he did later on, he doesn't have the presence. He doesn't have because Loomis, Dr. Samuel Loomis, and I've said it, and I said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. He was someone who saw what Michael does, who knew firsthand what this motherfucker could do, and hunted him down. And would not stop and tried to make sure Myers would never get out. And even though Myers kept getting out, because every time, because apparently in Smith's Grove, every time Dr. Samuel Loomis takes a day off, we have to transport Michael Myers. Like it's literally a plot point in Halloween 4 that he was off the day before, and that's when they decided to ship him off. And that's when he finds out when the day he gets back that Myers was out. He's like, what the fuck? Anyway, yeah, Sartain? No. Sartain is not like Sumas. Okay, don't say that. That's like saying Jackie Earle Haley in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake is like the new Freddy. He's not. And no offense to Jackie Earle Haley, who was supposed to be the original Freddy. You sucked. Get out of here. Okay, we're not. No, just no. Okay, no. Sorry. It just made me mad. Okay, back to the movie. Sartain says he read up on Lori and tells us that Hawkins is one of the first officers on site back in '78 in the babysitting murders. How Hawkins stopped Loomis from killing Michael that night. Lori says she prayed every night that Michael would escape so she could kill him. The line, it's basically a line that's in the trailer. She could have just snuck into the asylum and shot him. Shit, and you tell me she couldn't have just broke in there? Like, I feel like, whatever. Anyway, cut to Allison and Oscar walking home, talking about Discount Adam Driver. Back to Hawkins and Sartain. They talk about Lori as they're driving off, they're looking for the shape. They're looking for Myers as they're driving in this police building. And we kind of get a little tease from Sartain that he's about to turn heel because he's talking about how he wonders what Myers must feel as he kills. What pleasure he must get. And then he tells Hawkins, don't kill him, he's state property. Back to Karen's house. The police and lawyer arrive, asking where's Allison. Karen tries to call her, but unfortunately only the banana pudding can answer. So, cut to Allison and Oscar climbing over a fence. Oscar decides to go for it, to kiss her, to get out of the friend zone. And is rejected when he tries, like her face before, because she already knows what he's about to do. And before he can even try, she's like, no. And so she basically just leaves him behind. And he's like sitting there, oh come on, I'm just horny because these girls are dancing up on me. And look, Oscar, it's okay. We've all been there when a girl went, you know. Sometimes it happens only once. Sometimes it happens a lot. Oh God, it happens so much. Nah, kidding. Anyway, back to the. Don't worry, Oscar. You couldn't get the girl, but I got an old man for you. As we reveal with the motion sensors. We see with the motion sensors reveal when Oscar looks behind, who's standing there? Who just happened to watch all this? That's right, the one, the only, the shape. And Oscar asked him, you ever like a girl, but you just couldn't have her? And then the motion sensor light cuts off, then back on. But Oscar can't see Michael Myers, but then he sees him right up close. Old man Myers that has nothing for his little piggy. Lights cut off and back on as Myers slashes Oscar. Oscar screams and tries to run. Allison hears this and tries to turn back to help, but Oscar's fat ass apparently is stopped by the fence. His cape was caught on the fence. See, this is why you don't have capes, okay? The little pig lady from in Incredibles warned us all back in 2005. No capes. This is why. Because if he didn't have a cape, his little fat ass might have been able to get over the fence and not get murdered by Michael Myers. So everyone, say it with me now. No capes. Allison arrives too late to help as Myers has already stabbed him, and he walks into view and stares at her. Allison runs screaming, and now at this point I thought we'd see Myers just slowly following her behind, but no, actually she actually, while she's running the door knocking, asking for help, she actually gets help. I was like, whoa, what the hell? Cut back to Karen bitching at the cops. Lori tells her to shut up, and the cops found Allison. They all arrived there. Well, Hawkins and Sartain pick her up. Actually, they find her. Cut to Karen, Ray, and Lori at Lori's place. They go into the basement. They get guns. Ray gets a revolver. Karen gets a rifle. Lori says, and I kind of cringe when she says it because it doesn't make sense. She says, he's waiting for his night. He's waiting for me. Yeah, that's not really true. That would have been true in the original timeline, yes. When we went out the way to say he's hunting her down because it's his sister. But Michael doesn't. He's not hunting anyone down. This dude's literally just going house to house killing people. Now he saw her in the backyard. Maybe he did he recognize her? Who knows? He gave a totes, but he's not out because he was out to get her. Wouldn't he have gone after her then? Like, he knew where she was, but he decided just to walk away. Was he afraid of her? We see later on that syndrome he bashes her head in. So, clearly he's not afraid of her. This must be Lori so obsessed with the trauma that happened in 78 that she has to act like Myers targeted her to make sense of why this random maniac just went after her. So, in her way, she like the fans, wants there to be a reason why Myers is hunting her down. Wants to believe that Myers is after, that he just wants to kill her. But in reality, he just wants to kill. He don't give a shit about Laurie Strode. Well, in this movie done, I'm pretty sure what happens after the movie in Halloween Kills and ends, yeah, I bet you he's coming for her now. Now he's coming for her. But in this movie, nah, he's just having a good old butchering time. Anyway, sorry. Hawkins and Sartain quickly find Michael, and Hawkins, wastes no time, hits him with his car. Sartain runs out, mad, screaming, "He's state property! He's state property! You can't harm him! He's state property!" So Sartain runs up and checks his pulse, and he falsely claims that Myers is dead. But then we see in his wrist, he pulls out a hidden knife, and he stabs Hawkins in the neck, and he repeatedly stabs him as Hawkins bleeds to death. Sartain laments, "So this is what he feels like." And this is creepy scene where Sartain unmasks Myers and puts the mask on himself. He jumps up because we see this from Alice's perspective. He's in the back seat of the cop car, and we see Sartain pop up with the Myers mask on, and it just looks so bad. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Why? And then, not too long ago, I read this theory that he was supposed to be a Cult of Thorn member. It's going on Reddit because there's a Cult of Thorn symbol seen in Halloween Kills and like on Myers' cheek or some shit. Who knows? I doubt that's gonna happen because I'm pretty sure John Carpenter would hate the Cult of Thorn shit, seeing how he wants Myers to be just this force of nature, and that the Cult of Thorn was this really stupid way to try to explain Myers and how you can beat it with rune stones. We'll get to Halloween 6 one day, and the producer's cut one day. Anyway, so he loads Michael into the backseat with Allison, takes off the mask and puts it back on Michael. Allison obviously freaks the fuck out. I would have freaked the fuck out. I'd have been like, oh god, I would have never shut the hell up. I probably would have peed myself, to be honest with you, because I would have lost my shit. So they explains that this is his chance to understand Michael and to reunite him with Laurie. Because Sartain believes Michael will recognize Laurie. Because he knows Laurie will recognize Michael. Anyway, we cut to two cops talking about sandwiches. It's fucking stupid, so I skipped it, okay? I skipped it. Because this is, when people say they hate, this is why this one's a little divisive, because there's not much. There's like a little bit of comic relief, like with Julian, there's some comic relief. There's a little bit, okay? And then the Julian scene, it works. It makes this carry for Vicky. We feel bad for her. With these two cops, I don't give a shit. Fuck them. We're talking about sandwiches. It's so stupid. It feels like some directly out of like a Marvel movie. It's idiotic. So, fuck them. Skip. Back to Sartain and Allison. Sartain is still going on and on. Allison tries to make deal. She's like, he spoke to me. Because he talks about, he hasn't spoken in like 40, was it like 53 years now? She's like, he spoke to me. And she's like, what did he say? She's like, I'll tell you, you let me leave. She's bluffing, obviously. He didn't say shit. Anyway, go back to the annoying ass cops. They're still talking about sandwiches. Back to Sartain. Myers is awake. He looks at Allison, but then he immediately ignores her and turns to look at Sartain. And at first I was confused, but now that I've watched this 4 times, I think when he got his mask back on, woke up, he smelled something wasn't right. Like, he didn't smell a scent, he smelled Sartain. He's like, This motherfucker wore my mask. And he starts kicking the seat, going, I'm tired of these motherfuckers putting on my goddamn mask. I don't know why. I don't know why I hear Samuel Jackson, but whatever. And he kicks his feet, right? He kicks the driver's seat forward, and he kicks through like that bars that's in the back of the car, separating the front from the back in the cop cars. He kicks Sartain all the way into the dashboard, and he does this like at least a couple times. Then he drags Sartain out. And then he looks over as to see Allison escaping. Doesn't really seem to give a shit. Anyway, back to the two cops. They're now trying to radio Hawkins because they can see this. It's because they're right on the road that leads to Laurie's house. They see what's going on. They're like, "Is that Hawkins?" And they're trying to radio and they get nothing. So they decide, let's go up there and find out. Myers just stomps Sartain's head. Sartain's head blew up like a pumpkin, man. Allison's running through the woods by her grandmother's place. She's scared. Back in Myers, he's doing the hell tilt. And I like to think he just went, man, I fucking miss Loomis. I don't know why. It's just something stupid. Anyway, the two cops arrive, and they're looking around, and then Myers is behind them. Boop, they're dead. Cut to Laurie's house. Laurie apologizes to Karen about her childhood. Then we cut to Allison running in the woods. Cut to dumbass Ray playing with the yo-yo. Dude, he reminds me of Jerry Smith from Rick and Morty. Just this useless piece of shit we have to put up with because the daughter of the main one of our main characters married him. He's literally in the Jerry Smith role. Anyway, so he sees a cop car pull up outside, so he goes to investigate. And then when he opens the door, we see the sandwich cops, mutilated bodies. One's head is turned into a jack-o'-lantern. Kind of cool. But then as he's reacting to this, Michael strangles Ray. And Ray, finally doing something useful, fires his gun in the air, letting them all know Myers is outside. You know what? He's better than Jerry Smith because he actually did something useful. Jerry Smith would have somehow he would have fired into the ground or his gun wouldn't have gone off. So somehow Jerry would have fucked it up. Anyway, Laurie grabs her shotgun. Myers is outside when he looks at Laurie's door. The music intensifies. Make the battle commence. Laurie tells Karen to hide in the basement. And then I have a problem here. This whole sequence, there's a big problem here. Okay, so why the fuck does Laurie have a one door? And not just a one door, but a one door with those two like glass planes on it that can be easily broken. Okay, this whole thing that happens to her is her own fault. Why wouldn't she buy like this big ass metal door with one of those little slots you see in the movies and private parties where they're like name and then this shit? Why didn't she have one of those doors? Something that he couldn't kick his hand through or a knife through to stab her. Like, why would she have a wooden door with glass that could be easily broken? Anyway, so she goes up. She goes in to check. She's looking at the door, and all of a sudden his hands break through the easily breakable door, take her head, bash it into the door 2 times. The third time she's able to roll her head, like turn her whole body around. Now when this happened, originally I thought she was about to get wiped out. I thought, oh, they're just gonna kill her off and then just fuck. I literally thought that was what's gonna happen. Anyway, so Myers grabs it to the fucking way. Laurie turns herself around. Myers begins to try and choke her, and she somehow finagles the shotgun, uses it to shoot his hand, blasting 2 of his fingers off. They go flying. And Karen's going, ah! She's crying in the background. Can't blame her. Laurie goes to the basement. Alright, she runs out, goes in the basement before Myers gets in the house. And we see that she turned on all the house lights. Like outside, all the lights are on. Like all these big ass searchlights are on. Laurie reassures Karen, tells her she'll be safe. Laurie, and then Myers is above them, right? So she sees that Myers is above them in the kitchen. He doesn't know they're down there yet. And she waits to see. She can see a shadow from the floor, and she's waiting. And as soon as he disappears and he walks off, she waits about a few minutes, shoots up in the air. Now, at first, I was confused, but now I see she was doing this to see where he was even in the kitchen, so it'd be safe for her to get out and walk out of the kitchen, because the trap was not ready to be sprung yet. That's right, there's a trap. One of the big twists in the movie. Alright, so Laurie and Karen say they love each other. Laurie then heads out to find him, and we have this we see Lori now coming up from from the basement to the kitchen. She's going to each room in the on her bottom floor, and when she checks rooms, and we see that all the windows are barred, like they have like some fencing, some chicken wire fencing on it, and we see that she checks a room, and as soon as she's done checking, she pulls this switch, and boom, this big metal gate like you see from the mall comes in and shuts out the door path. Like almost like she's closing off the room. See, that's smart. That makes sense. That's smart. Buying a wooden door, not smart. Okay, no wooden doors. No wooden doors. All right, that's just dumb. Anyway, Allison has shown up in the backyard amongst the mannequins. It's actually a kind of scary sight, and this makes sense. You know, the mannequins are in the backyard. So anyway, Lori, now done with the downstairs, heads up, following a bloody handprint that Michael left on the staircase. She knows he's up there somewhere. And then we go into this. Here's another thing. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to nitpick, but why the fuck would why is a room upstairs full of mannequins? Why wouldn't they be outside? So you're telling me every time she goes to target practice, she has to go up the stairs, haul these fucking mannequins from upstairs, take them downstairs, and then straight to the outside. Why not just leave them outside in like a shed? Why are they in upstairs in a bedroom? You wanna know why? So we can have this fucking scene where Michael lays a trap. He actually leaves blood leading to a closet, which is like a nice little cutback to I guess the original Halloween where she's hiding in the closet and he busts in and she like stabs him with a coat hanger. Anyway, so he clearly leaves this trail of blood and he's like standing with the man off the side of the mannequins and she's slowly walking up, following the blood, right? Why didn't he just jump and immediately attack her? But instead, he waits until she turns around, almost sees him for a second, then he attacks. Like I said, I swear to God, Michael Myers, if he hadn't became a soulless, mindless killing machine, he probably would have been an actor. Because this dude's got a dramatic flair of timing for the dramatics, alright? This dude loves to time his attacks in the utmost dramatic moment he can, alright? I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but no, I was like, the fuck, what were they doing, playing hide and seek or some shit? Anyway, Myers attacks Lori, pulls a knife, Lori pulls a knife, and I'm like, oh my, this is some badass shit. Myers turns said knife and stabs her. Oh, there goes the badassness. He then plays competitive bitch tossing, but as he tosses her out the window, she lands, and Myers looks out the window, and hey, this looks familiar. We see someone get thrown out the window, and all of a sudden they're laid out across the lawn. I wonder where I've seen that before. Anyway, Allison has arrived. She calls out for Mom. Myers heard her, but then looks back at where Laura was and grasps. She's gone. I fucking love this in the theater. I popped so loud. I was like, yeah! She just appeared just like he did. A must run in the family. And then I got sad. And I was like, oh yeah, they're not related. Fuck. Karen opens the basement to Allison here. Myers stares down. He heard the door closes. Like he could hear it. You know he heard them, but he doesn't know where. So he grabs a poker and he goes straight into the kitchen. He's looking around and all of a sudden I don't know if he saw like the bullet hole when she shot the floor or something, but somehow he knows about the kitchen table. So he starts just trying to rip it over because Myers is fucking freakish, unnatural strength. So Karen sees this, grabs an old rifle, this old rifle that was hanging that has KS on it, her initials Karen shoulder, and a lightning bolt. So you could tell that used to be a rifle when she trained. Anyway, she grabs it, she locks and loads. Myers opens the table, and Karen, in her finest moment, I will give her props. This is perfect. I bought it. Now she's fake crying. She's like, "Mom, I can't do this. I can't do it." And then right when Michael is right in line of fire, she says, "Gotcha!" and fires him, hitting him in the right cheek. Lori appears from out of the shadows right behind him, saying, "Happy Halloween, Michael," and stabs him in the back. A struggle ensures. See, it's perfect. So let me explain. Karen fake cried for help as a way to let Lori know where Michael was, so she could attack from behind, because she shot up with the bullet and earlier, not only to see if he was nearby or if he was far away now, but also to leave him a clue to go there. 'Cause she wanted him to go into that. She wanted him to at some point go into the basement as a way for what's his face to shoot him, Karen to shoot him. This was part of the plan. And the reason why I say this is because when they shoot him and she stabs him and he falls down the stairs. He tumbles. Okay, first off, let me explain this a little more detail. Myers backhands the bitch and then gets hit with a frying pan. Then he tumbles down the stairs. Allison and Karen rush up. Allison goes first. Then Myers sits up, grabs Karen's ankle. Now, at this point, Karen and Lori are trying to get her free. Lori's trying to get her free. And Karen and Lori are both yelling, Allison, run, baby, just run. Just run. But Allison sees Michael's knife that he dropped, grabs it, and stabs him in the arm twice. Karen kicks Michael in the face. Then she runs up the stairs. Lori pulls a lever and iron bars here, blocking off the basement. Lori then begins to open valves, allowing gas into the basement. And then Karen explains to Allison, it's not a cage, but a trap. So that they set up to catch Michael so they can set him on fire. Apparently no one saw Halloween 2. Seriously, Halloween 2. This dude got set. Loomis blew himself up, and Michael Myers, one of the best shots in the entire series. Myers on fire, still walking towards Lori, and Lori's face as she sees him coming with the oh my god, what does it take to stop him? Anyway, Myers is standing there, and he's just staring at the women as the flames erupt, and he's surrounded by fire. Lori looks at him. Lori's staring at him. Michael stares at her with the head tilt, and then she says goodbye. And she drops this road flare, and she drops it, causing the basement to go up in flames. We didn't see that the rest of the house was also set to catch on fire. This whole house would catch on fire, and all those shutters that she used to lock the rooms were just in case Myers was in there, and he'd be locked, and the windows with the chicken wire. All so he could burn. We built him a crypt so he couldn't escape as he was set on fire. So as this is going on, they get out. So we cut outside as the stroll women are outside, and Allison runs off and flags down a truck, a farmer's truck with the wood stuff on the side. It kind of reminded me of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original ending, where the main girl escapes and by getting help from a pig farmer in that like same looking truck. Anyway, it could be just a coincidence. Who knows? We look back at the house, but Michael's gone. He is in the basement. The basement's empty. But where is he? We don't know. But we cut back to our final shots. The Strode woman riding off to the sequel. The camera pans to Allison holding the knife, and it freezes there. The end. Or is it? At the end of the credits, you can hear Michael's heavy breathing, teasing the boogeyman's return. Now what? The part where we talk about the film's success and its effect on the industry as a whole. Halloween 2018 came out October 19, 2018, and made $159 million, $342,015. Okay, domestically and internationally made $96.143.163 million, making in total $255,485,178 globally. Now, no surprise, this is a massive hit on July 2019, Blumhouse revealed that we were getting 2 more movies making a trilogy. This fucking franchise will never die, just like The Shape will never die. Halloween Kills was supposed to come out last year, but was pushed back due to COVID, so it will now come out, funny enough, 13 days, October 15th, 2021, in theaters and on Peacock. So Halloween Ends was also pushed back, which began filming, I believe, January of this year. Now, just like with the original Halloween, which made this massive success that basically invented the slasher genre, now there are talks with other horror franchises coming back. In fact, on the Friday 13th front, according to Corey Feldman, the Friday the 13th, the movie rights is finally out of the legal hell it's been in with Paramount and Sean Ascunium and everyone else saying, I have the rights to the Friday 13th. No, I have the rights to Friday 13th. It's finally now apparently all come to an end, and Corey Feldman is hoping for a reboot with him versus Jason one more time. And on the other front, let's go to hell and talk about the Hellraiser films. Good news, everyone. Dimension Films finally lost the fucking rights to Hellraiser after making god-awful direct-to-DVD sequels to the original Hellraiser films. We are finally out of this. If you've never seen some of these bad films, look it up. Every YouTube critic has reviewed these movies. They are fucking horrendous. We have two try to be Silent Hill ripoffs. One is one's in space. One is a is an MMORPG thing. And oh god, the last two were so horrendous. They're so bad. Doug Bradley ran screaming from this franchise. He's like, I'm not going to be in it anymore. Nope, and he just ran for it. So, Gladbiker is finally getting rights, and apparently there's a Hellraiser TV show in development with FX, I think it was, and there's a new movie apparently in development. Now, development means they're taking ideas, they're pitching, they're working on it. So we should know more soon in the future. Now, when it comes to the Nightmare on Elm Street, in 2019, Wes Craven's estate regained the rights to Nightmare on Elm Street. When this happened, two major things happened. One, Elijah Wood has come out since then saying he wants to do a Nightmare on Elm Street film with his production company, Spectre Vision. Well, isn't officially attached to a Nightmare on Elm Street film yet. They've done interviews, hyping this shit up, talking about how they really want to do it, throwing their ideas out there. And the Craven estate has apparently been listening to pitches about a new movie or an HBO Max spinoff. So I'm guessing Warner went up to someone went up to with an HBO Max idea to do a spinoff. Robert Englund actually did an interview where when he with the rights back into the Craven estates, he said, "Look, I'm not Freddy anymore. You guys, I could do one more probably." He just shot me up with vitamin C. But here's the thing, I can't do 8 more. You guys need a new actor that you can believe in and trust and love that can go into distance. So basically saying, I could do one more. Do you want me to? But you really should just hire a new guy to take over. It's kind of, he's like, look, I can do it. I'm only doing one. Because that makeup takes a long ass time. It's like 4 to 6 hours for him to get the makeup on and shit. Yeah, I don't blame him. Though, it's hard, because out of every other horror movie villain, you can't replace him that easily. Same with Doug Bradley as Pinhead. You can't replace those two that easily. It's hard to do it. I know someone's gonna say, "What about Kane Hunter and Jason should be in the match?" No offense to Kane Hunter, I get that he does no stunts. I know a lot of people like him. I don't really notice the difference between who's the fuck is Jason most of the time. Because it's a big dude with a hockey mask. It ain't that hard. Come on now, I've seen idiots on YouTube do it with a hockey mask and a bloody machete. Anyway, so as for Child's Play, Chucky has already received a remake in 2019 when Mark Hamill replaced Brad Dourif as Chucky's voice. It was moderately successful at the box office, and with mixed critical reception, apparently the director believes that a sequel is still in the works. But the problem is MGM needs to get their stuff together. So apparently there's some argument between the director and the studio. So we might still get a sequel to that. But I actually liked the remake. I didn't hate it. I thought it was interesting. It didn't need to be called Child's Play though. The only thing linking them is that it's a good guy doll in the movie. If you replaced the good guy doll with just a generic doll, you could have just did that. Anyway, there is a Child's Play TV series continuing the original film story with Brad Dourif as the voice of Chucky, coming back with the original creator Don Mancini back at the helm. The show begins airing October 12th, 2021 on the Sci-Fi Channel. So it's 10 days now, because Chucky, his original timeline's still going. They've never really, I mean, I guess Curse of Chucky was technically a reboot, but it's still set in that same continuity. So he's still been like going strong. And I like Curse of Chucky. I didn't like Cults that much, but I like Curse a lot. So this is kind of cool. I will watch the Sci-Fi series eventually. Maybe we'll do that on here as like a quickie thing. You know, like a quickie thoughts or maybe, who knows. But I do like it. And so, once again, we see that that whenever Halloween does well, every horror franchise starts doing well. It's that whole one big tide raises all boats. That's what this is. The Halloween tide is hits. Now let's see what boats rise up. To me, I'm excited because I love Nightmare on Elm Street. I I love the first Hellraiser film. I like Chucky. I like the first two Child's Play and 4 and 5. I don't care for three. Three was boring. Three was kind of boring. I like Nightmare on Elm Street. Clearly, I like Jason. I don't like all of them. I do think I wouldn't add marathon all the Friday 13th because they kind of blend together at one point. But I do like them. Part 6 is probably my favorite. And I actually like the remake. The remake wasn't that bad. I can see why people didn't like it, but I enjoyed it. So yeah, that is the state of horror after this Halloween 2018 reboot. Now it's time to go to our final thoughts. Alright, final thoughts. This is where I give you my final thoughts on the film. Where it stands to me. And in my mind, Halloween 2018, H40, Halloween 40 years later, is easily an 8 out of 10. It's a great movie. Fun to watch. I've watched this goddamn thing 3 times in the last 2 weeks, alright? It's still fun to watch. As a Halloween fan, it's great. As a movie, it can stand on its own as being this awesome thing. Like, honestly, one of the things I think I give this movie some credit for is that you could literally go from Halloween 1 to this, and it works. You really could just pretend all the other sequels don't matter. Like, all the scenes that may or may not be paying homage to the movies that came before, you could just toss it out the window and you'd be perfectly fine. Now, whether or not you want to do that, that's up to you. But I like this movie. It's with the tracking shot, going house to house, killing people. The stuff with Laurie, we see how she's obsessed with Michael. She becoming the new Loomis. We get to see how sometimes with Michael really is a force of nature, and sometimes it's just luck. Like in the case of, I mentioned it before, and I'll mention it here now, the character Vicky, who unfortunately was kind of a Laurie Strode type in the sense where she was the babysitter, and who on Halloween night, who just unfortunately just got unlucky. And I guess you could say she's more of the Annie role. I guess, or not Linda, because Linda didn't babysit kids in that movie. You could make that argument, but I don't know. When I saw her as a Laurie type. Anyway, this movie is an easy 8 out of 10. It won't be 9 out of 10. It can't be 10 out of 10 because of a few small problems. There is some moments where the movie just trying to make jokes and everything. It's very few. I'm not talking about the Julian stuff. I think the Julian stuff works great. It makes us care for him and Vicky and that whole situation. I think that was great. I'm talking about the sandwich cops. That what's his name? The father, Ray, the Jerry Smith of the movie, who had peanut butter on his dick. That asshole. He kind of, and Karen through the first half, the majority of the movie got on my nerves. That's a personal one for me. She got on my nerves. They drag it from a 9 to an 8, so it's 8 out of 10. It's still a great film. I like this movie. I'm just not in love with it like Halloween 1. I like it. There are parts I love, but for the majority of it, I like it. I like it as a Halloween movie. I like it as a movie. I don't love it. So that's what I said. 8 out of 10. And with that, we are done, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed this Halloween 2018 review. And we'll go cut to the credits and some side gags I want to throw in. Okay, so just some more thoughts, just off the cuff as we're pulling to the credits here. I just want to say, thank you to everyone who's watched this. I put a lot of time and effort into this. This took weeks to do. It was an idea that someone gave me, and I ran with it. I've always wanted to review horror movies. I originally, the Midnight Horror channel, the show was gonna be a channel. It was gonna be its own channel, it's everything, because I figured NJW Games had hit its ceiling, and I just wanted to move on from it. But yeah. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this. I put a lot of effort into this, especially some of the gags and shit. I really did try. I'm working on it. I hope this does well. So, because I don't want to start an episode. I don't want to start working on episode 2, and episode 1 doesn't do well. And I mean, just something positive. I mean, it's probably gonna get blocked worldwide by Universal, and I wouldn't be surprised by that. I hope it doesn't. I would like this to be a regular thing where I, like, once a month, on like the first Saturday of every month. You get like a new horror movie shit. That'd be kind of nice. And as this goes on, I get better and better at it. But who knows? We'll see. I hope you do enjoy this because I do love Halloween and I like this movie a lot. As you hear from my thoughts, I really like this movie. Just wasn't in love with it, but so anyway, I hope this does well. If not, then I don't know what I'm gonna do next. Maybe I'll keep going with this. Give it a few more episodes, see where it goes. I don't know. After the next movie, you're gonna have to follow me on Twitter at MJWGames1, or leave in the comments what you want to see next, because I'm not quite sure where to go from here. Anyway, I hope you guys had fun, and I had fun editing this. I hope you guys enjoyed some of my dumbass making comments. Anyway, I guess this is it. See ya.